Isn't the adage follow the money? Like, so here is an industry giving billions of dollars to politicians. That's a lot of money.
Oh, yeah.
5,000 at a time, right? And then to super PACs, et cetera. They seem like they're bribing almost all of Congress. Nope. Conspiracy theory. I had a...
Because they're bribing all the media, too, with drug ads.
Of course! That's their number one advertisers are drug companies. Number two advertisers, by the way, are politicians. Why do they always say that politicians are honest and they're having real debates? Because politicians are actually their top clients. So when you spend $17 billion in money in politics, where does it go? It goes almost all to establishment media to buy ads. So the Republican Party and the Democratic Party are the best clients that CNN, New York Times have. That's the Rosetta Stone, money in politics. Once you see that, you see how politics works and you also see how media works, which then leads us back to Israel. So we say, guys, they have contributed, Guardian did a piece on this, the Israeli lobby has contributed to 94% of Congress. One of the groups is called Democratic Majority for Israel. They ran $4 million worth of ads against Nina Turner, which is one of Bernie Sanders' campaign chairs, to make sure that she was defeated by Chantel Brown. Chantel Brown was one of 11 people running against Nina Turner, had almost no ratings at all. Nina had a 35-point lead. She was running against the Lilliputians. Chantel Brown puts a statement on her website saying how much she loves Israel. Boom, $4 million appears. All in favor of Chantel Brown, all against Nina Turner. That's her raising her hand saying, I will work for Israel.
And what happened in the end?
So they erased a 35-point lead. They bought every ad in Cleveland. And most importantly, they got mainstream media to say, now remember, Nina Turner hates Joe Biden, so she loves Donald Trump. Now that's Cleveland voters. They don't want that, right? Now, is that true? No. She has said a statement that voting for Biden is like eating a half bowl of shit. But she said, but voting for Trump is like eating a full bowl of shit. So what am I going to do? I'll eat the half, right? They never, ever put the second half of the statement in. They just said in every news story, whether it's on TV or in the newspapers, Nina Turner says voting for Biden is eating a half bowl of shit. She's so a Trump favorite. But how could she be pro-Trump? The rest of the sentence says he's twice as bad. So people in mainstream media are giant liars. Mainly they lie to protect the donor class. So then again, back to Israel, and because it's such a perfect symbol, 94% of Congress. It's not 34%. You add 34%, you can say, yeah, they have a lot of control. That's a lot of money that they're giving to a third of our Congress. At 64%, you'd say, come on, they have enormous power, if not control. And 94%, it's clearly control. Further part of that Guardian story is 82% of Congress votes basically with Israel every single time. That 82% on average gets 100, just in that last election cycle, let alone all the other ones, $125,000 per member of Congress. Now, establishment media says that's not a bribe. They're just talking to one another. Oh, hey, how you doing? Here's $125,000 so you'll vote for Israel. But it's not so you'll vote for Israel. It's so you can have a better debate or whatever. And they're like, of course, that's not a bribe. And they don't control those members. Well, how come they vote with Israel every single time? Why don't you follow the money? I thought the old adage of journalism was follow the money. And every time we ask you to follow the money, you call us an anti-Semite. That's really, really weird. That's a super weird thing to do. Again, Mad Lib, fill in any other country. Imagine that Bulgaria was giving to 94% of Congress. And you said, well, it seems like the Bulgarians have 94% of our Congress locked up. How dare you, anti-Bulgarian racist, you Bulgarist? Right? It would be absurd. It would be absurd. So of course you have to point this out. So, and what have they gotten in return for the hundreds of millions that AIPAC and other Israeli lobby organizations have put into Congress? And at this point, they've probably put in over $1 billion collectively over all those years. So, well, what they've gotten back is over $300 billion in funding through the lifetime of Israel, adjusted for inflation. That's before October 7th. October 7th, we add that 21.7. You could argue 10 or 12 billion more for the wars we're fighting for them. Those are not free. Every time we drop a bomb on Iran or Yemen or Nigeria, it costs us money.
Or Iraq.
That's
why we did that.
Yeah. But look, if you get into that, the global war on terror, which is, if we're being honest, the global war against Israel's enemies, costs us $8 trillion.
Right.
So Israel's lucky if we don't count that 8 trillion.
It's why we're bankrupt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, here we are at 38 trillion. And Tucker, that's the other amazing part. So now in the last 2 weeks, Trump gave another 8.6 billion, totally unaccounted. Where's that 8.6 billion coming from? Did anybody ever vote for that 8.6 billion? And then unabated, he gave another 3.3 billion. Where is this money coming from? Is anybody voting on this? What is going on? And
well, it's debt. These are IOUs to countries that are buying our treasuries.
Exactly. So that's the next layer of it. So you're telling us we have to borrow money from China and Japan so we can give money for free to Israel, and then we pay the interest for the rest of our lives, and they don't pay any interest. Well, why don't they borrow it from China and Japan?
Exactly.
But wait a minute. Why does anybody owe Israel for anything? It doesn't make any sense at all.
No, it doesn't.
Okay. So now they want a new memorandum of understanding. They were going to try to make it 20 years, and partly because of you and us and all the people that are going, wait, why? That a memorandum of understanding is the president saying, we owe you for the next 10 years, 20 years, et cetera.
And that's an agreement between the United States and Israel.
Yes. So, for example, Obama signed a 10-year memorandum of understanding saying we owe Israel $3.8 billion every year for 10 years.
So no votes on it during that period.
The only votes you get is it gets put automatically into the budget every year. And once it gets put in, you have to actively take it out. But if you have to go to take it out, they'll call you an anti-Semite and try to ruin your career. I have amazing stories about that. Marie Newman, a U.S. Congresswoman, voted against one of the appropriations that Israel got. 4 Democratic colleagues come on the floor of the House and say, how dare you? How dare you vote against Israel? We're going to take away all your money.
Actually?
Yes, you could ask Marie Newman about it. She said it on the Young Turks. This happened just a couple of years ago. Okay, she was in Congress from Illinois. They said, we're going to take away all your money and we're going to spend a ton of money against you.
Her own party?
Yeah, her own party. And that's what happened. They spent about $4 million against her, eliminated.
No way.
Andy Levin, a Jewish-American congressman from Michigan, kind of a legendary Jewish family in Michigan.
Yeah.
Carl Levin was a senator.
Yeah, Sandra Levin, yeah.
Yeah. Andy Levin says two-state solution. He says, I love Israel. I'm a Zionist. Okay. But obviously we should have a free and independent Israel and a free and independent Palestine. $4 million against Andy Levin, eliminated.
No way.
Eliminated. Jamal Bowman, the Israeli lobby spent $19 million eliminating Jamal Bowman. Cori Bush, eliminated. Okay. Anyone who opposes Israel is eliminated. And if they're paying 94% of Congress, we're occupied.
Yes.
We are. And it's not just Israel. We're occupied by big pharma and big oil and the defense contractors. But all those politicians represent those people and not us. I would love, my driving goal is regain American sovereignty.